Lesson 4, solving problems involving credit. So example 1, Bruce Wayne's $475 car insurance payment is due. He does not have enough cash to make the payment, so he's considering two options. So option A is borrowing money from a payday loan company. We haven't talked about that so far. And it's a $100 fee if it's paid back within 2 months. What would the annual interest rate equate to for the fee charged by this loan? So because he's paying it back in full within 2 months, it's going to be compound interest formula. So A plus P bracket 1 over Rn to the power of NT. For our A value, because we know he's paying an extra $100, it's going to be $475 plus 100, which is $575. He borrowed $475. We're looking for the rate. It's compounded per month, we're going to assume, because he's paying per month. And the term is after 2 months, so 2 out of 12 months. So we're going to quickly just rearrange this formula to figure out what our R would be. So we're first going to divide by P. So we have A over P is equal to 1 plus R over N to the power of NT. Now because our N times our T would be 12 times 2 over 12, notice how the 12s will cancel and we'll just be left with 2. So our NT we know will be 2 for this equation. So we're going to square root both sides. So we have the square root of A over P is equal to 1 plus R over N. Then we're going to subtract 1. So the square root of A over P minus 1, and then we are going to times by N. Now you can do that with all the numbers as well. Some people like to manipulate the formula first, whatever you choose. But I'm going to plug in my N values. So we have 12 bracket the square root of 575 divided by 475, subtract 1 is equal to R. So you should type this all into your calculator. You should get 1.2029 is equal to R. And remember, this is an interest rate, so we have to times it by 100. So the interest on this is 120.29%. This is very, very high. So the annual interest rate for this is $120 or 120.29%. Also, things you have to keep in mind for a payday loan company is if you don't meet that deadline, there will be some sort of penalty. Sometimes the penalty is you have to pay the interest on it as well. So payday loan companies are not a beneficial thing for you to use. They have really high interest rates and they're there to make money. It's a company, right? So if you can figure out another solution before this, that would be beneficial. Alright, option B is to get a cash advance on his credit card which is carrying a zero balance. The interest charged for cash advances is 19.99% compounded daily and takes effect immediately. What you need to know about cash advances on a credit card is that unlike other things you purchase on the credit card, you do have 1 month to pay it interest free, but with a cash advance you always have to pay interest no matter what. Another thing you have to keep in mind is that because this is a zero balance, it's easy to figure out how long it'll take for him to pay it off. If your card wasn't on a zero balance, that cash advance will calculate interest until it is a zero balance. And it usually is a higher interest rate than everything else. So if you've got a lot of money already on your credit card, you already have some debt on your credit card, putting a cash advance on your credit card is not a good idea either. But we're going to just see how much a difference of price this is for this car insurance payment. He can afford to pay the required $5 minimum payment after the first month, and then he pays off the balance in full at the end of the second month. So because he's paying it off in full, we are going to use compound interest again, but we're going to break it down by month 1 and month 2. So after month 1, we're going to see how much interest he's calculated. So his principal is $475. The rate is 0.1999. It's compounded daily. And the term is after 1 month, so 1 out of 12 months. Now we're going to put that into our formula. So we have 475, 1 plus 0.1999 over 365 to the power of, now n times t is 365 times 1 over 12, which is the same as 365 over 12. So type this all into your calculator. When you do that exponent, you should be putting this in brackets into your calculator. And the number you should get is 482.98. And now after this month, he's paying $5, so we're going to minus a $5 payment. So now he owes $477.98. So now going into month 2, now his principal is $477.98. The rate stays the same. The compounding periods stay the same. The term stays the same. But we're going to see how much interest he's calculating now. So we have A is equal to 477.98 to the power of 1 plus 0.1999 over 365 over to the power of 365 over 12. So type this into your calculator and you should get 486 and 1 cent. So in the end, he has to pay 486 and 1 cent plus that $5 payment, so he paid 491 and 1 cent. Minus the 475, which was how much he owed, and he ends up spending $16.01. So I would much rather spend $16 in interest rather than $100 in interest. So remember that cash advances on your credit card can also be dangerous. I think the best solution would have been for this car insurance payment would just have been to put the car insurance payment on his credit card and not paid cash, just paid it on his credit card. That's usually an option. So, yeah. Example 2, Robin wants to be debt-free in 5 years. He has 2 credit cards in which he makes monthly payment. Credit card A, credit card B. He has qualified for a line of credit at his bank, which is an interest rate of 9.8% compounded monthly. So notice that is a smaller rate, and it has a limit of $6,000. He's going to pay off both credit cards by borrowing money from his line of credit. How much interest will he save? So we're going to split the page in half. What this is called is it's called debt consolidation. He's going to take his debt from credit card A and credit card B and put it onto a new line of credit which is got a lower interest rate. So it is kind of dangerous thinking about paying credit cards off with credit cards, but because we're taking these credit cards and we're paying it off with a lower interest rate on a line of credit, we should be able to see some money saved. So what we're going to do is we're going to take how much he owes altogether, and add them together, and you should get 5480.24. So because this is underneath his limit, he can put it into his new line of credit, and he wants to be debt-free in 5 years. So we're going to set up our calculator, NIY, present value, payment, future value, 0, the future value is 0, payments per year, and compounds per year. So because he wants to be debt-free in 5 years with monthly payments, this is going to be 12 times 5, which is 60. His interest rate is 9.6. His present value is how much he owes. We do not know what his payment is going to be. This is what we're looking for. His payments per year are 12, and it's compounded monthly, so his compounds are 12. So we're going to type this into the calculator. So we're going to start with our 60, so we'll type 60 and then push N. Then we're going to type 9.6 and we're going to type IY. Now we're going to type 5480.24, and that is our present value. Next, we're going to type in our future value is 0, so 0 future value. Now we need to get to our compounds per year, so we're going to hit second function IY to take us to our PY screen. Then we are going to hit 12 and then enter. I'm running out of room. Then we're going to hit up to get to CY, and then we're going to hit 12 and then enter again. And lastly, we're going to compute our payments, and we should get our payment to be $115.36, so $115.36. To figure out how much he pays in all, we'll take 115.36 and we're going to times it by 60, and he would end up paying 6921.60. And if we subtracted his original debt, so 5480.24, his interest would be 1441.36. So that is how much interest he would end up paying if he consolidated his debt on his line of credit. Now we're going to do how much he would save if he would have done credit card A and credit card B separately. So let's do credit card A first. So for credit card A, he's still making 60 payments. His interest rate on this credit card is 18.5. His present value is 2436.98. We don't know his payment. We know his future values to be 0. His payments per year are 12, and his compounds per year is compounded daily, so it's 365. So pause the video, type this all into your calculator. You should get your payment to be $62.73. So if he did $62.73 times 60 payments, he would spend $3,763.80 minus his original price of $2436.98, and he ends up spending in interest $1,326.82. So if you notice, this is almost close to this number to begin with, and that's just credit card A. Now we're going to do credit card B, which is a higher loan, so we can assume that the interest is going to be doubled or more. So N is still 60 payments. The interest rate is 19%. The present value is $3043.26. We don't know the payment. The future value is 0. The payments per year are 12, and the compounds per year, it doesn't say it on here, but it's the same as this one, compounded daily. So pause the video and type this into your calculator. You should get your payments to be $79.19. So $79.19 times 60 is $4,751.40 minus the original cost of $3,043.26, and you get $1,708.14. So altogether, his interest he would pay with his credit cards is 1708, I'm running out of room, 0.14 plus 1326.82, which is $3,034.96. And if he would have, the difference between this and our $1,441.36 is $1,593.60. So he ended up saying, that's a 60. He saved $1,593.60 by consolidating his debt. So that's pretty significant. All right, example 3. Alfred is signed up for a special line of credit offer when he bought furniture for the Batcave. There were no payments and no interest for 12 months. As long as he paid the balance of $2643.65 in full by the end of the first year. Otherwise, a penalty equal to an interest rate of 19.95% compounded monthly on the full balance would be charged starting from when he first borrowed the money. So, this is a good example of you have no interest for a year, but as soon as it's 1 day later, your interest gets calculated back to when you bought it. So not from that day, but back to when you bought it. So because he's paying it in full, this is compound interest. And our principal is 26.43 and 65 cents. The rate is 19.95%, which is 0.1995. The compounds per year is monthly, so 12. And the term is he's paying it for 1 full year, but because he goes 1 extra day, we have to charge another full month, so 13 out of 12. So we're going to plug this into our calculator, and it should be 2643.65 to the packet of 1 plus 0.1995 over 12 to the power of n times t is 12 times 13 over 12, and our 12s will cancel, so 13. And when you type this all in, you should get $3,275.62. And to figure out how much that is in interest, we would subtract 2643.65. And what happens is he ends up having to pay $631.97 in interest. So that 1 day later, he ends up spending a significant amount of money just on interest. All right, question B. If he made monthly payments of $150 for the first year, what would the last payment need to be in order to avoid an interest penalty? So if he's paying $150 for the entire year except for the last month, that would be 11. So he's paid $1,650. And we take 2643.65 minus $1,650, and you'd get $993.65. So that last month, while it's due, if he doesn't pay this amount, he would have to pay the interest starting from the day of purchase. All right, last example, example 4. Harley Quinn had a balance of $1,004.36 on her credit card when she lost her job. The interest rate for the credit card is 19.95% compounded monthly. She can only afford to pay the minimum payment each month, which is 3% of the balance, or $15, whichever is greater. Fill out an amortization table for the first 3 months of her loan payment. So we're going to find some things first. So first we're going to find R over N. So our rate is 0.1995. And our N is compounded monthly, which is 12, so this is 0.16625. So when we find our interest, we take our balance, we'll just write a B, and we times it by 0.16625. And when we find our payment amount, we have to multiply everything by our balance times 0.03, because our payment is either 3% of the balance owed or $15. So at 0 months, she owes $1,004.36. So we take $1,004.36 and we're going to times it by 0.03 and we get 3013. So because that's bigger than $15, that's what her payment's going to be. I put that in the wrong spot. So after the first month, her payment is going to be $30.13. Her interest paid, we're going to take 1,004.36 and times it by 0.16625. And you should get 16.7. So that means that she pays $16.70 in interest. Then we'll take 30.13 and subtract 16.70, and you'd get 13.43. So that would be how much she's paying on her principal. And the last, to figure out her outstanding balance, we would take $1,004.36 and subtract the 13.43. And we'd be left with $990.93. So always remember, to find the outstanding balance, you would take the previous balance and subtract the principal paid. To find the principal paid, you take the payment and you subtract the interest paid. And find the payment, right now we're doing the balance times 0.03. Now because she's paying 3% of her total balance, this isn't a regular payment, so we can't use the calculator because the payment is going to change every month. Because if we were to look at this for month 2, to find our interest paid, we'd take $990.93 and times it by 0.03. And this time we'd get $29.73. So her payments are going down. So what I want you to do is I want you to pause the video and fill in the rest of the table. So these are the numbers you should get. So at the end of 3 months, she still owes $964.59, which is quite a bit. So this is going to take a long time. It's going to take many months for her to fill this out. So what we have here is we have part B. So at 54 months, she still owes $498.65, so 65 cents. So I would not make you fill out an amortization table that has 54 payments in it. That would take forever. Well, how you would do this in real life is you would have a spreadsheet or a program that does the amortization table for you. But we're going to skip to 54 months to see how the loan has changed. So at 54 months, she's now paying $498.65. So we're going to take the $498.65 and times it by 0.03, and we get 14.96. So now, as we can see, that doesn't make our minimum payment amount. So for the rest of our payments, we're going to be paying the minimum of $15. 3% isn't good enough anymore. So for 55, 56, 57, she's paying $15. So then we're going to fill out her amortization table the same. So 498.65 times 0.16225 to find her interest. And you would get $8.29. We'd take $15 minus $8.29 to get $6.71 for the principal paid. And then 498.65 minus 671 to get 491.94, which is her new balance paid. So pause the video and fill out the last 3 amounts, or the last 2 months. So you should get these numbers. So what we're looking at right here is that at 57 months, she still owes $478.19. So let's just think about this. 57 divided by 12 is 4.75. Is that right? Yeah, 4.75. So that's very close to 5 years. She's 3 months off. If this was 60, it would be 5 years. So she's been paying these payments for 4 years and 9 months. That's a long time, and she still owes half of it. So we're going to skip now to Part C. So Part C is telling us that at 101 months, she still has a balance of $26.24. 101 months. That's a long time. So we're going to go at 102 months. She has a payment of $15. We're going to take 26.24 and times it by 0.16625 to get 44 cents. So she pays 44 cents in interest and $14.66 on her principal. Subtract that from 26.24 and we get $11.58. So this is going to be her last payment on the last one. So her last payment, she's going to pay $11.58 on her principal. She also has to pay the interest. So we'll times 11.58 by 0.16625 and you get 19 cents. So altogether she pays 11.58 plus 0.19, which is 11.78. And then finally, at 103 months, she has finally paid off all of her debt. And 103 months is 8 years and 7 months. That's a long time. Now, to figure out how much interest she paid, or the total amount she paid, you would have to add up this column. But because we don't have all of those columns, we can't do that right now. But I'm going to give you the number because I know it. So her total payment that she made was $1,866.17. She owed originally $1,004.36. So she ends up paying $861.81 in interest, and that is almost how much her loan was to begin with. And it took her 8 years and 7 months to do that. So, the moral of this example is pay more than the minimum payment. The minimum payment is not enough to get rid of your debt.